I mentioned in the last chapter that this dude, which is funny because we still have a name for him, but he looks a lot like Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's funny because I was like, oh well, it's just probably an appearance. Like, he obviously doesn't have any form of personality to him that would kind of compare, and he seemed like he was just a bad guy. That doesn't seem entirely to be the case. I mean, in reality, like in this chapter, he seemed pretty cool. Like, he seemed like a really nice guy for the most part. I mean, he's still a criminal. I mean, I would definitely say like these guys are definitely radicals. I mean, like, he's definitely like a crazy person, but he's like one of those bad guys that, like, at a core, he's probably just got some messed up aspects to him. Because I would assume that any of the guys that got like their sweet user powers, their lives got completely screwed over by something they didn't control, and they probably were put in a really bad corner from like the people around them, from like the government and pretty much everyone in Japan, and I would assume the world, since they would associate anybody with that power to a degree to what happened with Japan and the Tokyo, and then whoever, wrecked up Tokyo. So they're obviously, it's not justifying, just attacking a school, just like throwing this big whatever that one dude's food is supposed to be, whatever his sweet user power was supposed to be, like, at a school, potentially could have killed a ton of students. Doesn't justify that, but you can look at it and be like, I can understand why you guys are the way you are to a degree, but still have a sense of normalcy to you. But the chapter starts out, and Misaki, like, he's in a spot that I think is hilarious, because he's just been getting all this credit that he didn't actually do to help cover up for Tsumugi's involvement in the actual events. And there's a part where they believe that he's the one with the lollipop power, but it's obviously not him. Obviously being Tsumugi, and he's like talking to him. And at first, he's, like, just generally fighting him. And the guy says his power is, like, it's pretty much gummies. And I actually liked the way it was set up, because he's using it either on his fist, he's hardening it and then using it for, like, increased power. Or he makes it soft and he can use it to guard, where it's just essentially just, like, this big squishy cushion that he could use to block attacks. That was actually pretty good. Like, it's not, like, the best power. I mean, we literally just saw the other dude throw, like, this 3-story tall, like, piece of food at a building and completely, like, carve into it. But this is one of those powers that is in reality useful, even if it's not the best one around. And I usually like we compare it like this to over in Black Clover, like very early series, like right at the start, like Sekke's Magnum Cannonball. It's like, even though, like, obviously, like, it wasn't ever really utilized in a way that made it look impressive, an attack that does do both offense and defense is still, regardless, pretty good when you think about it. It's obviously not like one of these crazy broken abilities that they have, but it's still good. Whereas, like, this one, like, this guy's got, it's fairly useful, clearly. Like, he can use it to block attacks and, heavy hit. And I imagine it's not limited to him just putting it on his hands. Like, say, like, he got attacked by somebody, like somebody goes up to deliver some big attack, he could I would assume, cover himself entirely in, like, the gummies and either harden it to create, like, a shield, or say if he got hit by something and he's, like, flying back or, like, falling off a building, he could use it to make it soft to, like, cushion his fall. That just makes sense to me. But he's, like, fighting Misaki, and he's, like, saying he doesn't know like, they don't know if this guy's really powerful or Misaki's just weak. They're like, kind of confused in reality of it. But we end up seeing a flashback of the bad guys, like, at that abandoned train, and obviously, like, he's got this whole misunderstanding that the person that they're going after is like Misaki. They're saying, like, the girl's name is Misaki, which, why this guy didn't realize this isn't a girl. He doesn't seem to be the smartest, but they're having a back and forth. He's, like, trying to deduce, like, oh, he's not using his sweet user power. Oh, he can't use it around the other students, like, give away his secret and whatnot, trying to lure him out. But Misaki is kind of confused, and because obviously he has no idea what this dude is talking about, and he's like, there's having, like, a back and forth, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna tell her when your guilty secret, and he's like, is it because I want to talk to people, but I always end up speaking too formally? And then at one point, they're just, like, kind of, like, going over that further, and he's like, oh, well, the other student's like, oh, we thought he was a big deal, so like we don't really, we try not to bother him too much. And he's like, well, I'm a very serious person, but I'm not that interesting. And the dude is like getting upset, and he's just like, you gotta have more confidence and value in yourself, man. Like, come join us, and like, screw these guys. You can be on our team. I think that the way that, like, in his mind, because he's got to see it as like, oh, he's like, he's like one of us, but he's a good person, and he's in a spot where like clearly he doesn't have. Like, he doesn't value himself enough, or like the people around him don't value him enough. And I thought that was pretty funny, because I mentioned, like I said, at the last chapter, that I was like, oh, this guy's probably just some like evil bad guy, nothing. But it's like, he's clearly a nice guy. Like, he's thinking about like the betterment and the best option for Misaki. So I thought that was just pretty entertaining. And I mentioned, like, Candy Flurry, like, it has a weird concept, obviously, but the characters have all been pretty good so far. I thought, like, every single character that's really gotten introduced, I've found to be interesting and fun. Like, I'm not talking about, like, the donut dude or the macaron dude. Like, those are just random throwaway guys. But anyone who's actually had, like, an opportunity to, like, have character moments and to kind of, like, be up in the forefront has been doing pretty well. And at this point, like, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna pretty much beat you until you and decide to reveal it, because like the other characters, like, they're unsure of what he meant, and I think he's just trying to, like, he's making something up to mess with Misaki. He's like, oh, they think I'm a liar. You can tell he's getting agitated, and then right when that happens, like, this big stick comes right through the ceiling, and then you see Tsumugi, like, with one eye peeking through it, and she just uses her lollipop stick to smash into the dude. And I did think it was kind of funny when she's like, you know what, this rate I'll be more known for sticks than sweets. And I'm like, yeah, she's definitely utilizing that stick in a really powerful way. She's got like a Goku power pole thing going on. And it then peers over to Irie, who's fighting the other two guys, the gum dude, and again, I don't know what the other guy's power is supposed to be. It's like bread or mince or something. It looked like they mentioned melon bread, and it looked kind of like it might be a bread-based food. Or it's something kind of like a mint or I don't know, some form of disc-like candy. Either way, they're in a spot where I'm guessing that this is going to be an outright 2v1. Like, I was estimating, oh, they're going to split up, Tsumugi's going to have a fight, Misaki's going to fight, and Irie's going to fight. But it looks like it's going to be Tsumugi versus this other dude. Maybe Irie's going to be 1v2ing, and then by the time that Tsumugi beats the gummy dude, that she's able to go in there and have a 2-on-2. The problem is, like, right now is that if she does, will her powers be revealed? Like, is she going to have to put on a helmet again? Like, what is her plan going to be in order to keep people from finding out about her power? Because, like, there's students in the school, and it's a very easy situation for her to get caught and revealed to have her powers and stuff. But I feel like Irie can take these guys 2v1. Like, we don't know exactly the power, like, ceiling that these guys have, like, where they're at. But we know that Irie's a big deal within Receipt. She's like one of the only 5 people within it with powers. And she should be able to eat the Confado things like they can to get more powerful. And this is like, we've only seen her base level of abilities, and they're all really impressive. Everything that she's done has been pretty impressive in the scope of the series. Like, just stopping crashing trucks mid-movement, just freezing it in place. And she was like freezing over areas like as big as like buildings and stuff. So if she like ate a Confado, I would assume that she would be way more powerful than what they can, dish out. So this is going to be a really odd next couple chapters. I don't think that there's any indications whether or not like Candy Flurry is going to, survive the axe or not. Volume 1 isn't going on sale. We haven't even seen the Volume 1 cover. Unless it's one of those series they decide to axe before sales even come out, which would suck if so. I would hope they would at least give Volume 1 sales numbers a chance. I still think if they waited for Build King to at least get the numbers for Volume 1 back, that they wouldn't have axed it. They would have probably let it go for another volume or two and give it a little bit more of a run before pulling the plug on it. And I'm hoping that is going to be the case for Candy Flurry too, that they wait a little bit, because like I said, I think the powers are interesting. I like the creativity behind them, but I like the characters as well. I think the characters have been the best part of the series, because they've all been pretty fun. I like Tsumugi, she's entertaining. I like Misaki, his whole scenario is pretty funny. Irie's pretty cool. I like the bad guys so far, and I look forward to seeing where this series goes if it survives. So comment below, tell me your thoughts about this, and tell me your thoughts about what's coming up, and what your thoughts are about future events, and how things are obviously going to be moving forward. And I'd really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, put the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.